Hey, what's going on, guys? It's King Andy here, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Clash Cup podcast series. I have Destiny back on the channel. Destiny, how are you?
Yo, what's up, Andy? I'm good. Glad to be back.
I also have on two new guests this week. My teammate on Funny Bones, Supachewy. How are you, Chewy?
I'm good. How are you? Happy to be on the show.
Great, glad to have you. And lastly, I have Bowser, the captain of intellectuals. How's it going, Bowser?
Doing pretty well.
All right. So we're going to be talking about Week 7 of the Clash Cup, basically just recapping it. And taking a look at the standings, for Group A, Instinct NA is currently sitting at first. Intellectuals is sitting first in Group B. And Shaheen is sitting first in Group C. So what do you guys think of the standings so far?
I think it makes sense. Instinct NA's been doing really well. They tied with Blitz this week, so I think they were first last week too, so it makes sense that they're still in first. Most of Group A, I feel like, basically tied this week, except for Undefined and Locio. And Intellectual's been on top of Group B. And I think, Shaheen on Group C, not many people are talking about Shaheen, but they've been doing consistently pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna say it again. I've said this like a couple times in the past. I don't really think Group C is a ton of big playoff contenders. Honestly, even with Tyranny and Sheen playing really well, I don't really think they're gonna match up to the rest of the other groups. So for Group C, I don't really think those standings honestly mean a ton coming into playoffs. And for Group B, I don't think intellectuals will actually stay up there in the coming weeks, especially because we have to play Instinct. So I think we're gonna lose a couple of points there, and maybe drop into third, hopefully not fourth. And then for Group A, I think it's pretty much decided from here. I think the top four is what we're gonna see as the top four, going into playoffs. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. The top four is not going to change anytime soon, unless all four teams just decide to get DQs from here on out. But top four is pretty much set in stone. Intellectuals in first, of course, but they've also played an extra game, so they still have a chance to drop to maybe second or third at the hands of Ulti or Rising Sun. And Shaheen has kind of surprised me. I actually didn't expect them to be in first, but Tierney, I'm not surprised that they're in second right now because they're a really good, capable team with a lot of good players. So they deserve that second spot, I guess you could say. PRG has kind of fallen a bit. That's another team I'm kind of surprised in. They just lost a couple of sets where they shouldn't have lost, basically. Especially getting destroyed by Shaheen during this week. So they're kind of faltering, and they had a strong start earlier this season, but now to see them in fifth place, it's kind of surprising for me.
Yeah, and PRG had a really strong start, as you said, but they've lost some players recently, so that's why they've been struggling.
Okay.
And also, Shaheen played an extra match, and this week they have a week off, like Funny Bones, so we'll see if they'll be able to end the season in first, but most likely they'll be dropping the second or third, kind of like Intellectuals. But if Intellectuals has a good week this week, then they should be able to hold on to first. If, of course, the other teams don't get perfect scores or anything. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I think top four for Group A is going to be the top four going into playoffs. It's just going to depend on seeding, who's going to get first, second, third, and fourth. Any of that can still change.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about this week as a whole. So we had a really close set of matches, especially in Group A. We had two ties, Blitz versus Instinct NA and Oso versus Funny Bones. Group C was a little bit lopsided. We had big victories 3-10, 9-4, 2-11. So Group C wasn't as close as Group A. Group B was somewhat closer, 5-8, 6-9. So each group had different results. But I want to specifically talk about Blitz versus Instinct NA because that was the highlight match of this week. So 2v2, as everyone probably expected, and Destiny has been saying, Gino and Clash dominated Night and Asian. So, no surprise there. Shamix unfortunately couldn't make it in his 1v1 set. and I believe Hold This L subbed in for him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and he unfortunately lost against Darian, which is like Darian has been performing outstandingly so far.
Darian's
And-
number 1 in the cup right now.
Yeah,
It's 12-1.
and Bob Keith unfortunately lost his first set. Like Destiny, do you know what happened to him or?
I mean, no, but well, Vakit said like he wasn't playing his best. Like the match that he played were like kind of sketchy. But I feel like we definitely could have taken this if Shamix was here, because he's like especially good with graveyard and everything. So he's just really dominant with that like the whole season. So I feel like if Shamix played Darian instead of Hold This L, I think we would have been able to take that set. But you know, things didn't work out. He wasn't able to show up, and it ended up as in a tie because of that.
You really think he could like win a game off Darian? Like not even
Yeah.
like win the set, just win one?
Oh yeah, at least one.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, he is 12-1. Like
Yeah.
overall.
But like Shamix has just been like really, really solid as well for us. Like I don't think they don't particularly show in like Clash Cup, but like any other thing he's participated, especially also like in just regular like friendlies or whatever, he's just been like really, really dominant.
Shamix is 7-3, so he's got a pretty strong record too.
Yeah.
And lastly, King of the Hill. This is a really interesting King of the Hill. And I believe Eddie started off with a win.
Mm-hmm.
And then Legendary Tony got 2 wins against Eddie and Shadow. And then Destiny came in as the anchor. He had a really close 1 HP win against Legendary Tony. That was insane, bro. Like the arrows,
Yeah,
it
man.
didn't do enough. It didn't do enough damage to take in it. Tower would have had 1 HP. So, yeah.
Yeah, that.
And then the last game. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. No, yeah, it was insane because like sadly all I had to do was like spam. I don't like spamming, but like I was basically throwing mini P.E.K.K.A.s at the bridge and like putting mega minions up high to like take out a lava hound quickly. So, and he was running lava clone. So fortunately, like he only had Scar Me to really stop my mini P.E.K.K.A. after he went lava hound. And you know, I hovered a zap, and that was pretty much it over to Scar Me, and I was able to get the dub. But yeah, no, what was really, I was gonna be really pissed because like, you know, arrows technically got that buff, so like they do like more damage and stuff. So I would have been pretty pissed if I lost that match because of that. But yeah, it was really close. But Legendary Tony definitely played better than me, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. And the last match, Royale Dawn came in as a sub, and he clutched it. Do you know if you did anything wrong in that match, or I mean, it was close. Definitely could have gone either way.
Yeah,
But
well, it was. I just remembered I had like a weird cycle and everything. So like, with like the Musketeer and well, I was gonna lightning the Musketeer and Ice Golem when he did it first play, but I thought it was the bomb tower variation of the balloon deck, which is why I didn't do it, which is why I didn't go in. But that Musketeer got a lot of value on everything. So like I had to use my Night Witch and Baby D to get through everything. And then his first balloon push, like I couldn't do much, but you know, tornado it to the King Tower and just take out the Lumberjack as quick as possible. But you know, even with that, like we were able to get like some tower trade basically, because the elixir ended up evening out. And at the end, I misplaced the Baby D. I put it on the right lane when the tower was taken down instead of the left. And when I went Golem, he just placed Lumberjack, Balloon, and that was pretty much it. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But he also played better. I played horribly the 2 matches, so Tony and Royal Dawn definitely deserved the Ws. But it was a really close game nonetheless. 200 HP difference, so it was well played the Royal Dawn.
yeah, definitely when balloon cycles in general is hard to match up for Golem, so definitely made it closer than I think most people would.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to talk about 2v2 for a little bit, because obviously this season we had a lot of outstanding performances when it comes to 2v2. Going into the league, a lot of people were expecting certain duos to do better than others. So I just wanted to start off by talking about Oso's 2v2, because they actually beat us this week, me and Cars. They swept us 2-0, which was like, we didn't necessarily see that coming. It did shock us a bit, but we knew they were good, but yeah, just getting swept just was brutal, which is why we tied 6-6 because we did really well in the 1v1s, and Surgical J swept in King of the Hill, so we definitely could have won that, but their 2v2 was insane. What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, like, yeah, Trickster and Puerto, I don't really know his name, but their 2v2 duo is kind of, I think, underrated. They're like 11-5, which is like the best 2v2 record in the league right now. Which is like, they're very underrated. Nobody seems to be talking about them except like now after they beat you guys, because Funny Ones is often regarded as one of the best 2v2. But I definitely think they need more credit because like I think them and Gino and Kasha Cash are like one of the best or kind of like the two best 2v2 duos in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Oso is really strong for 2v2, especially being in Group A with, like, Blitz and Funny Bones and Undefined all having great 2v2s too and still being able to get 11 points, is really impressive. And I think, this season compared to, like, last season, there was, like, several good 2v2 duos, but this season, I think, it's become more common, and I think, like, half the teams have, like, a solid 2v2 pairing that they lean on each week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I was honestly just surprised you guys went Expo for 2v2. I think that kind of like threw everybody like off guard in a
You were
sense.
trying to catch them off guard, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't go according to plan, but I mean, we definitely did. We made some mistakes. If you watched the stream, you definitely Durian pointed out some mistakes that we did, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if we played flawlessly, then we probably could have won. But mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to talk about Gino and Clash for a bit. I believe they only dropped one set this season against Undefined, but for everyone else, they've been killing it.
Yeah, they've swept, I'm pretty sure, everybody else. And especially against like Tribe and Instinct NA, who had pretty good 2v2 duos. It was really impressive. And they did it in like a really dominant fashion. Like they rarely made any mistakes, and just the communication between those two is like pretty much perfect. So I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see. It's gonna be really interesting to see our 2v2 against Osos, which I believe is the last. We played them the last week, so that's definitely gonna be like one of the highlight 2v2s to watch.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give Gino and Clash a slight edge over Osos, but I wouldn't be surprised if they made it close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So let's go ahead and talk about your predictions on the season champs based on the standings right now. So I'm gonna guess Undefined is gonna be first in Group A, and probably have the most. Actually, no, someone from Group B is gonna have the most points because they got 22 free points, and that will definitely like give them an edge. But I think Undefined will have the second most points, and then for Group C, it's either gonna be, for me, either Rising Sun Beta or Tyranny. I'll have to see how they do in the next couple of weeks to know for sure. But I mean, Undefined faces Instinct this week, and they're basically battling for first place in our group. So depending on how this match goes, that'll be the deciding factor of who gets first.
Yeah, I think that Instinct NA is gonna be first in Group A. Just because the fact they have like so many dominant 1v1 players, and I think that they can, even though like Undefined, I guess we'll see this week. Kind of, this will probably be the deciding week. But I think that Street, Junaid, and Darian will beat both of Undefined's 1v1. And I think even though that Undefined definitely has the better 2v2 here, I think that their 1v1 in calls will be enough to kind of win them like that match. And for Group B, well, I think Instinct NA is going to be the season champs just for like the regular season standings, just for like points. And for Group B, my guess for one is going to be probably Rising Sun, just because like they're definitely more dominant in my opinion than the other four teams up top. Well, just especially because like we played 6 matches while everybody else played 5. I think Group C is probably Tyranny, just because they're just probably the favorite and definitely the best team in Group C.
Mm-hmm.
I think Undefined actually takes the top. well, like just the majority amount of points for the whole season. Because they have players and like they have like really top players in like 2v2, 1v1 and King of the Hill. And I don't know, like Instinct NA's like their Koth wasn't as good as I thought it would be, honestly. So, and I think just Arango and Jigsaw can just really dominate them in that aspect. Um, Undefined's 2v2 is really top as well, and like same with 1v1. So, I think Undefined or either Rising Sun, Alpha is going to take the most points at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree that, Undefined versus Instinct NA, I think whoever the winner will be will probably be the season champion. And the following week, they both are playing, like, Undefined's playing Quantum and, like, Instinct NA's playing Tribes, so that those are kind of even teams. I feel like I would bet on Undefined's because, Undefined's just, like, hasn't missed a step, like, all season and didn't really miss last season either. So just got to go with the consistency.
Mm-hmm. And actually, lineups have been released too, so I'm curious to see Undefined's new pickup. He's going first in King of the Hill.
He's a lava player. He's pretty insane. Definitely, yeah, he's pretty insane. I've seen him play before.
Nice. All right, so now we're going to talk about player achievements, and we obviously all know that Qasim is 10-0 so far in Clash Cup, and across 3 seasons we've never had anyone take home the Invicto Award. So do you guys think Qasim will be the first, or do you see someone else, which I don't really know who else could get it at this point at the top of my head?
No, I don't think Kasim's going to get it because if I remember correctly, he plays Plan B, and that guy is really, really insane player. Wait, I'm just going to double check real quick.
Yeah,
It is Plan B? No, yeah. Plan B at least gets one from Kasim. I mean, Kasim has got to use his bread and butter, but I don't even know the bands either, so that's why I'm like trying to double check real quick.
Healer and Poison.
Oh, Poison's band? Nah, yeah, Plan B takes one. Plan B definitely takes one. Plan B is just extremely strong with any type of bait aspect deck, especially classic log bait. He's finished top 1K with all that. Gotten many rewards from the Ladder Gods clan. That includes Kenda Swagger, so he practices with him a lot. So Plan B is definitely going to be a tough test for Kasim. Even though I'm definitely rooting for Kasim to get that, Invicto award, I think Plan B at least takes one from him.
Honestly,
yeah, there's a lot.
I think that he could. I think he could go undefeated. I think that Plan B is definitely probably his toughest opponent, but I think he can go 2-0 against him because he's kind of like, I mean, he's a pretty insane player. And even though like Plan B is very good at log B, I still think Qasim, even with the poison ban, can probably come out and get the Invicto award.
It's even if he goes 2-0 next week, he'll be eligible for the Invicto award. But if he loses in playoffs, then he won't get it. So technically, if he goes 2-0 next week, you bench him for the rest of the season, boom, he gets it. But if you kind of need him in playoffs as well.
Yeah, I'm not doing
so
that.
So if he plays in playoffs and loses, I mean, yeah. That's captain of the season right there. You bench your player if you got the Invicto.
I'm not benching him. There's no way.
Do you
yeah.
Do you think he can beat Kyle's record?
19-2? I can see Darian beating it.
Yeah, I can
see.
Maybe. I don't know. That would be tough.
Darian is 12-1.
Yeah, that's a pretty hard record to beat.
The only reason Darian has 2 more wins is because Qasim played 2v2 our first week, instead of 1v1. Just kind of like behind on the record there.
Oh. All right. So, talking more about intellectuals, they had a strong start, but recently they've been going downhill. Not their 1v1s. Their 1v1s have been doing spectacular, but their 2v2s and King of the Hill have been struggling a little bit. So Bowser, since you're here, I want to talk about what's happening with the team? Like,
Yeah.
How is it going with the 2v2 and the King of the Hill and like?
So I guess I can talk about 2v2 first. Like for the first for the, like weeks like 2 through 5 maybe, we had Rishi and MLG be our 2v2, and they were like really solid. Like they were like a solid 2v2 duo. So I was like really good like with putting them in for the rest of the season, but due to personal issues and due to MLG, like basically retiring like for the time being from playing competitively, we've had to change that and actually have like a whole new 2v2 duo. So we tried like to put Foles and JJK in there to start, and then they got DQ'd with that whole situation, that complicated situation, and then they dropped 2-0 or 0-2 to Rising Sun last week. So I decided we probably need a new try a new one. So I ended up putting myself in there with ARGs, and we haven't. I'm gonna try it out because like anything could work at this point, and we need the points. So we'll see how it goes. I've never played 2v2, and neither really has he. So we're gonna see how that goes. But if we can't really figure out a good like duo, I don't know how well it'll go for us in playoffs, because like we can't just have our 1v1 carry, because that just won't be enough. And for cost, I think
it's
possible, but it's pretty unlikely that they can carry us like through the whole playoffs. And for cost, like I think we have a solid 3 with Peters, Foles, and JJK. And although we did like switch some people up in there, I think they're like, if they're all like playing solidly and don't really like have an off day, like one of them can have an off day, but if like at least 2 of them are playing solidly today, I think we can beat any team in league with our cost, because all 3 of them are like pretty insane players, especially Foles and JJK. So I think that our cost can be pretty like consistent from here on out. If I'm like gonna stick with the same cost trio for like the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's funny because last season you guys had a really strong 2v2 with Badshaw and MLG, but since Badshaw left to Captain Evolve, like your 2v2 has been going down.
Yeah.
So I feel like when a 2v2 person leaves, it's like it can ruin the team. But at least you got stronger 1v1, and I guess that's made up for it. So, anything else you guys want to talk about before we move on?
No, good.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about our predictions for next week. So week 8, I have my eyes on Instinct versus Undefined, Intellectuals versus Instinct EU, or Instinct NA versus Undefined. That's what I meant. And yeah, those are the 2 matches I'm looking forward to. I think they're going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a crazy 11-point victory for any team. But yeah, a lot of great matches coming up. It's hard to choose between Instinct NA and Undefined. But as I said earlier, I think Undefined's going to finish first in Group A. So I guess I'm going to go with them. They're probably going to win by 1 or 2 points. I don't think it's going to be by a lot. In Intellectuals, I think if Bowser and his partner can show up in 2v2, they can definitely, I can see them taking down Instinct EU. Because I think that Ella and Quasim will win their 1v1s. And if they win their 2v2, it's definitely going to put Intellectuals over on top. What do you guys think?
I definitely think the match to watch is Instinct NA versus Undefined. That pretty much decides like who's going to be in first place, I think, for Group A. I think Instinct will take it, although everyone else seems to think Undefined. I think Instinct's going to take this. Even though they're probably going to drop the 2v2, I think they're going to win everything else pretty like solidly. And so then I think they're going to finish on top. And for Intellectuals versus Instinct, I'm pretty biased here, but I think that we can come out on top with that. But pretty much like it's pretty much I think up to our 2v2. And like if we can get those like 4 points, then I think we definitely have it, because I think our 1v1 is like really solid.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead.
Oh, all right, thanks. I think Undefined's gonna probably beat Instinct NA. I feel like Undefined, Cool Soul, and Beak this time it will probably win the 2v2. Ayalshi is like really good, so that could be like a really close match. Could be like a 2-1 or 2-0 either way, I guess, because Street United's good too. I think Darien will probably beat Zigzag. And then King of the Hill, with Undefined's new addition and like Aaron Gawang. I think it'll probably be close there too, but I think because of 2v2 Undefined will end up with more points. It might be like 9-5 or like 8-6 or something around there. And then I think for like Intellectuals versus Instinct EU, Intellectuals will probably win with like a pretty close margin as well.
Just to, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I just actually completely agree with Chewy because I think the only set that Undefined's going to lose is the 1v1 against Darien, but everything else they'll win pretty significantly, I think. And yeah, I think Intellectuals just edges out, Instinct EU.
Nice.
Also, Don brought up Don brought up last week. Alice Sheehy in Air Force actually plays for Instinct in like other leagues, just not in Clash Cup. So they're obviously gonna know what decks their teammates like to play. So I'll be interested to see if that'll have any effect. So yeah, is that anything
I
else?
think Synergy versus Oso will be an interesting match. Is this like the final chance for like both of them? If like one wins, there's still a shot.
Yeah.
And then the other one's dead.
Synergy has been rather pretty underwhelming as a team, I think, this season. I kind of had high hopes, especially just because Link was captaining it. I thought he'd get some pretty solid players, and they kind of only have 28 points. It's kind of kind of a letdown. I thought they'd definitely do better than this, but they still have a small chance if they can totally destroy Oso.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Link still put himself for 2v2, so
yeah.
no, he put him
this week, yeah, but I mean the ones before,
last week,
yeah,
that was a mistake.
We specifically told him, and he disobeyed my instructions, for a better way of putting it. Yeah, I mean Synergy's basically got to be perfect to even have the slightest of chances to make the playoffs. Oso's going to be interesting because if Oso, can be dominant against Synergy, they could probably squeeze a fourth because Funny Bones doesn't play a match, or has played an extra match, I should say. So it'll definitely be interesting. Synergy's got to play perfect, to muster up any small playoff chances. And if Oso plays well, then they can definitely get into the playoffs pretty easily.
And also, Synergy faces Funny Bones in the final week. So if they're able to get a good score against Oso and completely dominate against Funny Bones, they can definitely take that fourth place. But Oso it's going to be really hard to get past Oso because, obviously we talked about their 2v2. Their King of the Hill has been struggling, surprisingly. If 7LB Carlos hasn't been performing that well as we all thought he would. But if it's any time he's going to shine, he has to shine now if he wants to give his team a shot at playoffs. But yeah, their 1v1s are looking solid. Ludi Luck is one of a great pickup. He beat Dying last week in Funny Bones. So I think he's a great 1v1 player.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically going to do that for our predictions.
Yeah.
And that's basically going to do it for this week. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I want to talk about how Blitz is going to clap Quantum this week. I think...
All right,
elaborate? Okay, well, 2v2, I don't even have to talk about that. So let's jump right into the 1v1s here real quick. So, Bakheath will get back to his winning ways again. And I think Eddie, with that Team Liquid Academy experience that he's gained, will be able to take the 1v1 dubs that he needs for us to do that. And also, hopefully, Shamix plays in King of the Hill as our middle man. Quantum might get 1 point against Shadow, but Shamix will pretty much clean up everything else and do the rest. So I think we take a pretty solid, definitive 11-1 victory over Quantum.
11-1.
So you
Wow.
11-1 because the only loss
Shut
he
up.
probably doesn't
Hey,
he probably doesn't have
Shadow,
faith in
Shadow, no
so-
disrespect. I know you're watching this, Shadow, but no disrespect, man. But like, you gotta switch it up with the Goblin Giant Sparky deck you've been running. Like, I know you're really good with Mortar. You can bring that
Oh,
back.
man.
If you win with Mortar against
Mortar's
King of the
bad.
Hill, against one of their players, I will give you $5 in your PayPal account directly. So, I do have faith in you.
Oh,
Oh,
But-
Shadow. If you're watching this,
But I
Shadow.
think the Goblin Giant Sparky is not going to be the move for King of the Hill. So, yeah.
Also, the Quantum's last King of the Hill player, Hey,
Yeah, he's good.
is
Yeah.
really good. So you don't think you'll need to play next week? You think
Nah, man,
Shadow
I'm
and
bringing out the
Shamix will-
popcorn and I'm just watching
Right.
Shamix do a middle sweep, I guess you could say.
he's
Yeah,
hoping
sounds
he
good.
doesn't need to play because he's gonna just lose.
No, yeah, man. Well, I mean, like, I'm literally gonna bring out the popcorn, so I would have to, wash my hands, get the grease off my fingers, and open up the app, the Clash Royale app, and select the golem deck,
Go to your
and
favorite
start playing.
golem deck. Yeah.
So hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but
Yeah.
hopefully Shamix just does a pretty good sweep, and all I'll have to do is just watch and spectate.
You don't think Shadow will get 1 point? You don't think he can take out one of them?
Not with that Goblin Giant Sparky deck, bro.
He really
As
does
that's
not
what he said.
have faith
If
in
he
him.
uses Mortar,
Damn.
he's gonna win.
Yeah, I'll give him the $5 PayPal, like 100%, if he uses Mortar. Any Mortar variation, like as well. Like he doesn't have to use classic, Mortar bait. It can just be anything with Mortar.
Goblin Giant Mortar.
He's that good with Mortar. Huh?
Goblin Giant Mortar, yeah.
Yeah.
Lava Hound Mortar. Here's this. Alrighty. So that's basically going to be it for this week, guys. I'll have these guys' social media information in the description. And yeah, thanks again
for
for tuning
having
on, guys.
us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, and subscribe to my channel, please.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.